Right, hello, good morning, welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's a Friday, the 11th day of June, 2021. By His grace, we're live and we're here with yet another edition of the show. Our gratitude to the Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive and, of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making rounds here in our dear Republic. I'll let you to a panel for the morning's conversation shortly, but let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic. Stamp out Galamsey. Chief Justice warns of stiffer punishment. AngloGold Ashanti insists on political will. Passion for tree planting shoots figure to 10 million. Government receives $1.16 million from airport COVID-19 tests. Graphic 3 others to benefit from SIGA capacity building. Ghanaian Times, planting for food and jobs. Ministry of Food and Agriculture targets 1.5 million farmers across 260 districts nationwide. Nationwide tree planting takes off today. President Akufo-Addo names 19-member cabinet. COVID-19 test at Kotoka International Airport. Ghana Airport Company Limited receives $10 from $150 per person charge. COVID-19 vaccine Buhari. Government negotiated price downward from $25 to $19 per dose. Ministry of Health. They are not ashamed to even put this out. Daily Guide. Bank of Ghana bounces Dufour and Amabin. Atwesian and Co. says state has no case. Ghana Airport Company Limited gets $1.157 million in royalties. Kandapa others miss out on cabinet. Green Ghana project takes off today. New weekend crusading guide. Green Ghana project comes alive today as government rallies populace behind it. Kwewu South MC attacks Finance and Administration Subcommittee Chair. Support Green Ghana project. National House of Chief President appeals. Dr. Kwekwotin is Ashanti region's best excise taxpayer, says GRA. Kwabenya Queen Mother rains curses on Musuku chief and others for insulting her. The insight. Ghana now owes over $10.2 billion on the international capital market. Farmers worried as nematodes disease affects tomato production. Asedun Ketia wants Chief Justice hauled for contempt if Ghana's forest depleted by 80%. 80%. This is according to the Lands Minister. The Informer. Fight against terrorism and violent extremism in the sub-region. We are in it together. ECOWAS chair declares, urges commitment to assist Burkina Faso fight the menace. Ghana courts IFC to invest in Ghana Cares Obatampa package. Respect our privileges. Speaker urges judiciary. Ask MPs to reciprocate gesture. Akufo-Addo admonishes waste management companies to emulate Zoom Lion. Youth admonished to shun Sakawa and make optimal use of social media to make genuine money. The Inquisitor. Alleged conflict of interest. Don't consider Adonko girl on any state board. Justice Onyanuga dismisses Opuni's application asking him to recuse himself. Fire GRA virtual staff Deba. COSA for vetting today. Professor Fobi retained as Get Fund Board Chairman. Richard Buedu is still administrator. The Herald. Quality of $5.7 million Russian COVID-19 vaccine doubtful. World Organization warns Ghana and others against middlemen. I'm not agent of Sputnik 5 deal. Dr. Yu, a free year. Okay, then leave the agents to speak for themselves. Greedy, Kenneth Japan, using Baumia's name to settle personal scores with Atifwa. You've presumed Opuni guilty ahead of his defense, lawyer tells judge. The Daily Statesman. It's Green Ghana today. President, Vice Speaker, Chief Justice lead national tree planting exercise. Second Lady calls on WHO to improve access to clean energy. President names 19-member cabinet. The Daily Searchlight. Official in quotes snubs President's directive on sirens. But nobody respects that directive, so don't waste your time. GRA awards Dr. Kwekwotin as best excise taxpayer in Ashanti region. Clocksack raises red flags over transfer of pension funds. Let's come out in our numbers to Green Ghana together on June 11. Government. 222 patients abandoned by families at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. The Custodian. Your banking probe is unlawful. Bank of Ghana warns Parliament. Backbone best MP's immunity bubble. Government rallies Ghanaians for Green Ghana project. GRA honors Kwekwotin as Ashanti region's best excise taxpayer. Stop June 4 celebration. Katie Amon tells NDC. The Ghanaian Publisher. Let's join hands to Green Ghana. Chief of Staff urges Ghanaians. NDC at 29. Ofuswampofu calls for party unity. Akufo-Addo names 19 cabinet ministers. Minister of Health admits using middlemen to obtain Sputnik 5 at $19 per dose. Daily Post. Bank of Ghana snubs Parliament over investigation into revocation of banking licenses. Akufo-Addo sees COVID-19 as an avenue to loot more. Edem Agbana. Parliament will address concerns of the marginalized. Speaker of Parliament assures. Business and Financial Times. Very, very sad story. Local rice farmers seek foreign support to stay in business as government, banks remain apathetic towards sector. Dams, technology non-existent to support farmers. Government earns $1.16 million royalties from airport COVID-19 test. All is set for Green Ghana Day today. PURC, Energy Commission to merge. Amin Adam. Consumer confidence in economy under ascendancy. IEA report. Emergency healthcare. Zipline makes over 400 deliveries daily. Engineer made president of WFEO. The good old Catholic standard. Lives of some Catholics remain embarrassing. Catholic priest laments. Catholic bishops commit to planting 1 million trees. Africa needs peace, says Pope Francis regarding the killing of over 130 people in Burkina Faso by jihadists. Damongo Diocese celebrates 25th anniversary. And that's about it. For the front pages, we'll be back shortly.
In Ghana and in Africa, there is only one place to look to get that luxurious design and decor for your offices and homes. Visit Jamila Home. We give you the climax of luxury wherever you find yourself. Presidential and executive office furniture, living room sets, dining set, stunning mirrors, adorable wallpapers, lovely king and queen size beds, valuable antiques and antique goods, beautiful chandeliers and more. Into the bargain, we provide caring customer service, prompt delivery service, skilled and artistic full house design and decor services, and free decor ideas for your space. Our products and service is unparalleled, boasting of top-tier clients all over the globe. Jamila Home, home of first-class quality furniture, beautiful chandeliers, and antiques.
As a mother and wife, my priority is making sure my family is protected at all times. That is why I never forget to give my angel a Flora disposable handkerchief to keep germs and sweat at bay. When hubby is out in the fields, I'm rest assured of Flora coming in handy anytime he needs it. Even when my daughter Na is out late, I am confident Flora disposable handkerchief will be close enough to save the moment. Flora disposable handkerchiefs are my go-to disposable handkerchiefs any day, anytime, and everywhere. Flora disposable handkerchiefs is affordable and handy. Flora, better than cloth handkerchiefs. Flora is a product of Delta Paper Mill Limited. For inquiries and bulk purchases, call 0243 033 033.
Blood gives life. Life is very important. Let's donate blood to save lives. On Saturday, 19 June 2021, Ignite Media, Metro TV, Original TV, and Original FM is humbly inviting you to blood donation exercise. Come donate and save a life. The donation will take place at Metro TV's premises on Dr. Issa Street, close to Alisa Hotel at North Region, Accra. The blood donation exercise will start at 7 a.m. It is in commemoration of the World Blood Donation Day. Join us to save lives as we donate blood for the Blood Bank. This exercise is in partnership with Blue Skies, Pharma Nova, and 3Fair. Share blood to save a life.
For people like you.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. simply natural.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. With me on the show this morning is a former minister of the Republic, who's currently the managing director of STC, Nana Akomia. Nana, good morning.
Morning, Randy.
We're expecting a former deputy minister of communications, Felix Kwatio-Fosu, to join us on the show. But Nana, so we are greening Ghana today. According to the lands minister, we have lost 80% of our forest cover. A statistic like this, I mean, in any other country, would create some very, 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 very aggressive and serious, strategies in dealing with this issue. And we're told on page 13 of the daily graphic that passion for tree planting shoots figure to 10 million. The initial strategy was to plant 5 million trees today. Now, Emilia Eninabe and Mohamed Fugu and also Felicia Kwatin reports that Ghanaians will come together today to plant trees at various places in a national tree planting exercise as part of efforts to green the country. More than 5 million tree seedlings of different species will be planted and nurtured to maturity as an aggressive measure to preserve the country's forest cover and the environment and roll back climate change and its debilitating impact. The government's initial target of planting 5 million trees in a day under its Green Ghana project has now ballooned, following the expression of interest in the initiative by a number of organizations. President Akufo-Addo announced the Green Ghana project in the 2021 State of the Nation address in March to mobilize Ghanaians for an aggressive nationwide tree planting exercise. Subsequently, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Samuel Awudu, on March 23 this year, launched the greening project as part of activities to mark this year's International Day of Forest, which fell on March 21. The ministry plans to institute June 11 each year as a tree planting day. The tree planting exercise is scheduled to commence with President Akufo-Addo, Vice President Bawumia, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin, and Chief Justice Eni Ebua planting trees. Other high-profile personalities who have shown interest in the project are former Presidents John Ajikun Kufuor, John Dramani Mahama, as well as the Rollins Foundation. The chairman of the 60-member Green Ghana Project Planning Committee, Mr. Benito Usubio, told the Daily Graphic that the 10 million tree target was in sight after a collaboration with Ghana Education Service aimed at getting 5 million students across the country to plant a tree each under the One Student, One Tree campaign. Additionally, a number of religious organizations, including the Catholic Church, they have indicated that they will plant 1 million, the church alone. The Methodist Church Ghana, the Church of Pentecost, and the Presbyterian Church of Ghana had also indicated their intention to mobilize their members to plant 1 million trees each, with the Methodist Church Ghana and the Apostolic Church planting 1.4 million and 500,000 seedlings respectively. The initiatives of the churches alone translate into 3.9 million trees. Also, the chief imam has encouraged Muslims to take part in the tree planting project by planting trees around mosques across the country, while the Ghana Journalists Association is also called on its members to give the exercise massive support. Mr. Osubio said all parliamentarians had indicated their readiness to get their constituents to plant trees in the various constituencies. Says we are fully prepared to green Ghana and will not rest until every seedling raised or donated by individuals and organizations for this project is planted. Okay. So, on the species of trees to be planted, we're told that a variety of forest and fruit trees had been selected for the project. So, some of the forest trees are teak, wawa, mahogany, acacia, neem, rosewood, and ornamental trees. And the fruit trees include coconut, tangerines, pear, orange mango, and royal palm. So, Nana, this is it. 80% of our forest cover is gone. It shows how reckless and irresponsible we've been over the years and decades. We ought to do something about it. Good initiative, getting everybody on board. But interestingly, I read a post. I laughed at first sight, but upon a deeper reflection, I thought that that particular post told a story about who we are. And it's about somebody in response to this issue saying that he remembers planting a tree some 10 or 15 years ago. He decided to go to where he planted a tree, and he saw that the tree had been cut and there was a container situated right there. I guess what that thing tells us is about how we are able to sustain things and how we are able to see things through. It is one thing planting, and it's another thing nurturing and ensuring that those are not, because we're told of rosewood. We all know the ban and what has been happening there and all that, but here we are. And I'm sure that climate change and those things are not things that are big issues for us here. And so 80% of your forest cover gone has not raised any alarm for most people in this country.
Well, I agree with your sentiments. Of course, it is a great initiative that is being done, this tree planting effort, and it's a national effort. You look at the people and institutions involved, the involvement of former President Mahama, former President Kufuor, the current president himself, churches, religious organizations, and so on. It's a big national effort. It's a bit late because of the massive loss of the forest cover. It means that we have been negligent in terms of preventing the forest being lost or replacing the lost forest. We've been a bit negligent over the decades. But like they say, better late than never. So if we are starting today, it deserves the support of all of us. I believe this new initiative and the urgency which has been put to it has all got to do with the more potent danger posed by galamsey. The usual timber industry, felling of timber and rosewood and so on. Slow pace, even though they kept depleting our forests, but at a slower pace. But galamsey is depleting the forest like 20 times the rate that mere felling of timber would do. And I'm sure this new aggressive effort is part of the fight against galamsey. So it deserves the support of all of us. And I'm happy that political actors across the political parties, particularly NDC, NPP, are involved to give it it will help give it a national character. It's not an initiative by just one government or one party, but it's something that is national. If the NDC people see President Mahama planting 4, 5, 10 trees in his area, which neighbors you, isn't it?
Yeah.
it would spare NDC supporters and sympathizers to also be encouraged to do the same. President Kufuor, the churches, the church leaders, and all of that. So I'm happy about it, and I'm sure everybody is happy about it. The question that you raise is relevant, the sustainability. Because tree planting, even flowers, I mean, those of us who have a few flowers in our homes, it has to be, you have to have a gardener who knows a bit about the business, nurturing the soil, maintain small pesticides once a while to keep away parasites from destroying the flowers and so on, until a time that they can grow on their own. Even flowers, you need a fair amount of dedication. So trees on such a wide scale, beyond the planting, you need a program to sustain the trees until they grow to a level where the roots get to hit the underground water and can grow on their own. So that the difficulty is planting them and nurturing them until their roots hit the water sources on the ground. Then they can, so watering, preventing pesticides from destroying them, and all of that. It's the real deal. And if out of these 5 million, assuming 3 million are planted today, and even if 1 million survive, it will still be a major improvement. So I'm all for it, but there has to be a focus on, after the planting, how do you maintain the effort for the next 2-3 months until the trees have grown to a level where they can grow on their own. And I'm sure the ministry, together with the forestry department and all of those people, have put their heads together to have a plan to sustain or to nurture the trees until they can grow on their own. Your story said that it's going to be once a year project, June 11th. The figures that you mentioned shows clearly that this is a crisis. When you look at the loss of forest cover, it's a crisis. So I would wish that it's not once a year, but it's more frequent, maybe twice a year, until we can see a definite reversal of the loss of forest cover. Mind you, the Sahara is coming down south. With climate change, the ozone layer being depleted by industrial activity and so on, the Sahara is coming south. And those of us who are in the south of the country, we don't see it. It's only Galamsey that has brought it to us. Because when you go into the forest, you see the trees. You go to your farm, your cocoa farm or your maize farm, you see the tree, you see the forest. It's just Galamsey that has brought it in a dramatic way to us, that this deforestation is really serious. I mean, if you take my own experience, when my village in Sutem in Fantiakwa, places, forest areas that have remained the same for 40 years. Because every holidays we would go and stay in the village for 1 month or so, live with our grandmother, my cousins and so on. And you bath in the river. When we went on holidays, we were anxious to leave Accra, because the things that you get to do, you don't get to do them in Accra. For example, young boys of 12, 13, 14 growing up. You go to the village, you get to swim in the river every day. You get to, when you accompany your grandmother to the cocoa farm, you get to eat the pods directly. The cocoa pods are quite sweet.
Yes.
You get to eat the pods directly. You get to do things that you don't get in the city. And the forest areas have remained the same. I went there one time when Galamsey started, and I couldn't recognize where I was. There was a place, there's this river called Supon, which is a tributary to the Birim River. And the Birim, the whole Achime Buakwa is built on the Birim River. And it has tributaries. Now, one tributary is called Supon, the Suopon, and it enters the Birim near my village. That's why my village is called Isutem. So, like, it's between the rivers. Okay. There was a particular place where children are supposed to bath, and then adults are supposed to bath. And we used to do that. So I went to where we used to bath when we were children. And I was saying, where is this? They said, oh, this is Yankofra. I said, no, it cannot be Yankofra. The whole place was a football field. The place that had remained the same for 40 years, it was a football field. Large swathes of it. There was no forest cover, Galamsey. What one excavator can do, the destruction. So it's brought to us in the south dramatically how this forest cover can be lost easily. So this tree planting is part of the measures to fight Galamsey, and it should be more aggressive. I would wish that we do it twice a year instead of once a year. But more importantly, because of the sustainability, I mean, I would see this 5 million as symbolic and also real. But I would wish to see a task force because of the enormity of the problem. A dedicated task force, maybe 5,000 people, recruited for 6 months to carry on with the tree planting, to carry on with the maintenance of the ones that will be planted by all of us. If you left if I planted a tree somewhere and you left the maintenance to me, then the maintenance cannot be assured. But if there's a dedicated task force employed for a period
across the country,
who would then see to nurturing these trees and also planting trees themselves until the trees become viable, it will go a long way to help us. You talked about your friend who had planted a tree and he went there the next day. It's a sign of the way we are careless about these things. Take Accra, the rich area. I used to live there. Just that.
That's around here.
Yes, around here. The rich Ghana Institute of Journalism.
Yes.
Where the new church is going to be built.
British High Commission.
That area. It has a character. So when you move from the city, the middle of the city,
the business district,
National Theatre area, and just 5 minutes, you get into this different environments where Kempinski Hotel is and so on. Different environments. The difference is the trees.
When I was a kid, I used to go and sit at the Kimbu Gardens.
So you have a mini forest in the middle of the city. And over the years, the trees have given that area a distinct character.
Yeah.
Now with the Accra redevelopment, the old bungalows are being torn down. And because of the land use, the more efficient land use. I mean, those days you have one big bungalow sitting in 2 acres of land. Today it doesn't make sense. So we are redeveloping to accommodate more people and so on. That's fine. But in the process, we are not preserving the trees. Yeah. And it should be possible for you to have a building plan that would incorporate the trees. So all these new shiny glass mini skyscrapers, they are fine. But the trees are being cut. You know, it's a big shame. I hope that the cathedral would maintain the trees. I mean, those ones that would obstruct construction, fine. But you have to be able to construct in a way that your plan that should be approved should preserve as much of the trees as possible. I mean, if people are left on their own and they want to put up some condominium townhouses, they are looking at their profits. They cut down the trees and all of that. It destroys the character of the area, the character of that part of the city. And the whole city suffers. The whole city would then become just glass and concrete. I don't think we want that. So this your friend plants a tree and somebody just comes and cut it down and put up a container. And I'm sure in the area where this tree was planted and was cut down, a container put, there are bylaws on tree felling, planning, where you site your container, everything is in there. And there are planning officers, environmental officers, the works, they are there. But these things go on. So it has to be a connected process. The planting, the sustainability, the preservation of the ones we have, so that it becomes part of our culture. In many other places, if you want to prune a tree, you need a permit.
Yeah.
You want to prune a tree, you need a permit. And we are in Accra. Accra is so hot. We can reduce the heat, beautify the city.
It doesn't even rain in the rainy season.
Beautify the city, plant the trees along all the major highways. They give the city a character. There was a time, I understand, Kumasi was known as the Garden City. I'm sure now when you tell little children, they wonder.
Which garden?
But Kumasi has more trees than Accra.
True.
And if the Kumasi people today, they should plant, they should regain that. You see, we just have to live at what is happening in other countries. All these big cities that we like, London, New York City, now they've seen that fine, the skyscrapers are nice, but you need the trees. And they are planting trees. So in our rush to be like them, we should not repeat their mistakes. But it is also comforting to me that there seems to be a new awareness of this matter.
Right.
You know the road that is being done, the Lekma Road?
Yes.
There's a huge effort, the median, the middle of the space. There's a huge effort being made to plant grass. And the residents were quite upset, because I live on that road. And they said, but we need street lighting. They are planting grass that we don't need.
So Okuboy said he wanted the street to look like one of the streets in California.
How are the streets in California?
So the grass and the trees and all that.
Actually, I spoke to one of the engineers. I said, but when are you bringing the street lights? You know, this planting, the people are not happy. And he said that it's a convention that when you are doing these highways, because of the petrol, the fumes from the petrol, it is now an international convention. The emissions to plant vegetation because they absorb the carbon emissions from the cars. So it's now part of international. And they are planting the grass. And they haven't explained this to the people because the people are quite upset. The people along the road are quite upset.
Is it to suggest that you cannot have street lights and also...
No, the street lights have also come. Yeah, the street lights have also come. But they started the planting way before the street lights. That road is going to be one of the best engineered roads in Accra. But there's an awareness. And they have a gang that is seriously planting the grass in the middle of that road. And it's encouraging. And so if we plant it along all the major roads in Accra, in 10 years, Accra will look completely different.
Right. Felix.
Andy.
Yes, the late Felix.
Andy, sorry, I had a little traffic mishap, so I had to get here through intermediaries and middlemen.
Okay, all right, so that's fine.
You know what happens when you use middlemen.
At least you are here.
What does that mean? How do you use middlemen in traffic?
What?
Maybe he had to leave his car and jump on Okada and all that.
That's what not at Okada.
And instead of 10 CDs, it cost him 19 and 26 CDs.
So what did you jump on?
Not Okada, but a good Samaritan volunteered to fly me here.
Sorry?
A good Samaritan just opted to bring me. So the
but the same traffic. Oh?
Oh yes, but at least I didn't have to spend time by the car to get it fixed or anything. So I'm here. Is it a middleman and intermediary I don't want to hear? Or what?
No. you said you were in traffic, and then you got a middleman to bring you. So is that Okada?
No, it's not Okada.
But somebody give you a lift?
Yeah, somebody give you.
But they'll face the same traffic.
Maybe the person has.
No, I'm not saying that there was a mishap.
There was a what?
Maybe
there was a
with
mishap
his
with my
car.
car.
Maybe his car broke down.
Oh, your car broke down.
Yes,
But say so.
So I said a mishap, but I've said it. Is that like the middleman and intermediary that you don't like?
But
to hear?
say so.
That's
My
it.
car
Fortunately, he
broke
got
down.
a middleman who didn't charge him.
Exactly.
You know, but it's an effort to be mischievous. It's not. Oh, my car broke down.
But I've said so.
I got a lift.
I've said so. But I use the middleman.
But the lift is a middleman.
And an intermediary.
A benevolent
But I
middleman.
didn't get the part that his car broke. Is that it was a mess?
Oh dear.
So Felix, we're just looking at this issue. Look, the stats, according to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, is that we've lost 80% of our forest cover.
Yeah.
And obviously, something radical has to be done. And so this 5 million trees project is being launched. And I guess it's just the big event to create the awareness and push a drive to a drive for reforestation, you know. And we're told that based on what the faith-based organization, the churches alone, have pledged to plant 3.9 million today. And so it's shooting up the 5 million to even 10 million. A lot of issues have been raised about sustainability, the things that we ought to do to ensure that it's done. Even the to stop it from, you know, being felled and all that. We know that the rosewood, for example, is being banned, but the reality on the ground is that rosewood is exported almost every day from Ghana. How that happens, only God knows. You know, so yes, we're confronted with a big issue. We need to deal with it, but how do we deal with it? How do we ensure that it's done? Tree planting is not new in Ghana, but it appears that we have not been successful. One, at sustaining it. Two, at ensuring that the existing forest cover doesn't deplete further.
Yeah, I think that is an important step. For quite some time now, we've been lamenting that at the turn of the last century, we had about 8.1 million.
Felix, you know what? So I don't interrupt you in the middle of your stuff. Let me just take a break, and then we'll return. We'll deal with the issue. We'll be back shortly.
All right.
Football pa and nothing a high sense as sponsor Euro 2020 Edia Maono Nisa Suntina Yatiti TV so say who Edia Maono a high sense Euro 2020 TV super promo can kwajo brand new high sense TV and board that form pictures near clear na color near deep sound quality this so dear one it here high sense TV so dear entry power about down one access you are akona utu sa barefoot 18th June, I confirm 11th July. A Hisense Euro 2020 TV Super Promo. Emma Refisa, Hisense and Kwan, Emma 5 years warranty. A Hisense Euro 2020 TV Super Promo. A Kosovo Hisense showrooms, I want Ghana for Nanina. What Judian and Senyo. Hisense, everyday prices for everyday people. Hisense, official sponsor at the Euro 2020.
Masa, tam kubari ya mkazi bikufi haya imiduno mwabaje bona jamaa wai ba habe biya yuki ambibe bibi wai
HD logo the bottom. Where you say HD local channels na mo hedo. And so pictures here clear. E 5 times better. As other channels that could be your hormone. So go the mention mon tram raka why. Oh, what the pictures. Who knows tomorrow? HD Plus decoder, or multi TV, and now Electroland agent PRO. Natural local channels now, HD, the years of better.
Star 879 hash.
Numbers from Kubo box, and now the advert 80 channels now.
Get an HD Plus decoder from now till the 9th of August for just $89.99 Ghana cedis and enjoy 3 months free subscription. Enjoy all the excitement and live sports action in the HD Plus Air Bosso Fili promo. Promo lasts from 7th June to 9th August 2021. Visit hd-plus.com.gh or call 024-243-9872 for more info.
Half a nose for good things.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana Live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, I have Nana Kumia and Felix Kwachi of Fosu. Yeah. Yes, Felix.
Yeah, Randy, I made a point that it's a laudable step. We had been lamenting since time memorial that at the turn of the last century, we had about 8.1 million hectares of forest cover. And by the end of
8.1 million.
8.1 million, yes. By the end of the century, it had depleted to about 1.2 million. So it ties in with the 80% loss. And that's a catastrophic decline by any standard. So we have essentially become a desert when at the turn of the century we were basically a rainforest. So it cannot get any more graphic than that. So it meant that there was the need to do something about it. It posed several challenges. It changed our climate. It made agriculture far more difficult to do. And it posed serious threats. Indeed, the Sahel, what we call the Sahara Desert, was estimated to be moving further down towards our shores. And that was going to pose a major problem for us. So there was a need to do something about it. As you intimated, it is not new. I mean, the tree planting activity. I recall that my earliest recollection of such an exercise was under President Kufuor, where something of the sort was attempted. It didn't go too far. We also attempted it in power. We didn't achieve the results that we required, despite our best efforts. And there's an attempt by the current minister to act in a similar way. One can only hope that it will meet its success and that lessons that have been learned over the years have been brought to bear on the planning and strategizing for this particular effort. It is easy to plant trees. What do you really require? You require seedlings. Dig the earth, put it there, water it for a couple of days, and see it grow to a certain level. But it takes much greater effort to ensure that the trees we planted gets to the level that we want to get it to, and that it is not felled, as has been the case. Nana was lamenting the depletion of the green tree cover that we had in Accra. At least when we were growing up, we could see that there were areas that had greenery that have disappeared because the lands on which they stood have had to be bought and used for commercial purposes, which were not compatible with the growing of those trees. As we speak, there is intense commercial activity all around us. Indeed, the building of the cathedral that he refers to resulted in the felling of trees around that particular area. So human activity and the exigencies of the time sometimes makes it convenient on the day to fell a tree in order to pave way for that kind of activity. But we, as a nation, we have to grow sustainably. We have to balance the need for leading a convenient life and the need to take care of the environment. I think that it is that balance that has been missing. That is why we have landed where we are now. So there's not much to add to what has been said already. But I do hope, genuinely hope that it succeeds, and whatever way that one can help, we would assist. Except that I don't know how I can get involved. Maybe Nana Kumia may enlighten me. But I think that is a laudable effort. That they perhaps may assume that people know about it. But as I sit here, I don't know how I can get access to seedlings to plant. So perhaps that assumption is misplaced and erroneous. They may have to do more to get more people interested. If it is supposed to be widespread and everywhere, the impact must be felt. I also do hope that in light of previous and recent events, the management of this in terms of the finances will be above board, so that a few months down the line we don't hear about misappropriation of funds, which tends to undermine public confidence in such exercise. Because what the public normally thinks when these things come up, and indeed it has come up in some discussions, that there is just another avenue to loot the public purse in the name of planting trees. So all those lessons have to be taken on board and packaged in a way that we avoid. Otherwise, I don't think that anybody can fault any effort at all to recover lost ground that has happened over the years. Yeah.
Okay, so one man who's been speaking about Rosewood a lot is the MP for Busa South, Dr. Clement Apak. And he sent me this one. He says, it's good that we are planting trees, but it's better we also aggressively protect the trees we already have. In fact, I made this point on the floor that we are destroying and or have allowed trees that have taken ages to grow to be destroyed by a few selfish and greedy persons with the support of officialdom to our collective detriment. It's a shame. Yes, we can plant trees, but just think of how long it will take for these trees to mature to the ages of those we are destroying even today. It's not just about planting. Are we committed and disciplined enough to nurture and protect the trees we are planting today, given our record? So that's what Dr. Apak also brings us. And incidentally, today is his 51st birthday. So happy 51st birthday.
Happy birthday.
They sent me pictures of when he was 6 months and him at 51.
He sent them to you?
Yes, he said them to
What does he want you to do with them?
It shows where he has come from.
Yes, where he's come from. Apak at 6 months and Apak at 51.
It's like a tree grown by the riverside.
Yes.
Planted by the riverside.
So at 51 is the tree that has been felled today. And at 6 months is the one we are planting today.
It appears that now doesn't have pictures of his childhood, so perhaps it will be interesting to see what he looked like then. You have pictures of you.
When you were swimming in the Supon, were there cameras there?
My small worry is why he will send you his...
Oh no, he's already put it on social media. So
why you send So number one, we have to use this platform to urge everybody to try and plant a tree today. But Felix raised a major issue. If Felix doesn't know how he can get involved, then there's a problem. Randy, do you know how you can get involved?
No.
So assuming you want to plant a tree today, how do you go about it? So obviously, there's an issue that has to be addressed. I think there are some designated places, including the Accra Mall. I saw Accra Mall.
So, for example, can I go to my assembly
and demand to?
So, in terms of learning from this and getting better outcomes, I suspect we may have to do it in zones. So if, let's say, today is Lejokuku tree planting day, then all of us in Lejokuku, which is your area, my area, Teshi, all that vast area, one constituency, tree planting day. So there will be seedlings spread at popular points in the constituency. So at Chado, you would know there are 2-3 places, maybe a Goya filling station, whatever. There are 500 seedlings placed at a Goya filling station, another 500 seedlings placed at a popular spot in Chado. Same for Teshi, same for my area, and so on. So it will be more intense.
That will give us a year-round activity.
It will be more
year-round
activity. But per constituency. Yes. So you can have 2 days or 3 days for one constituency. And there'll be more involvement, because as we speak, if you don't know where you can get a seedling, and Felix doesn't know where he can get a seedling, then there's a problem.
Alternatively, maybe it's not an activity that everybody needs to get involved in. They can recruit a cadre of tree planters, not necessarily remunerated. But I can get publicity.
Even remunerated.
Fine. Sometimes that runs into difficulties too.
Or volunteers.
We can have volunteers if you want to volunteer.
So there are options.
So that at least you are sure that this cadre of people are going to do the planting. Then you know that, yes, because really, ultimately what we want is the tree to be planted. It doesn't matter who really plants it. So either we do that, or if it's something that we want the general public to get involved for publicity purposes, because we all will have responsibility in terms of nurturing the trees, in terms of avoiding felling it, in terms of making sure that if a tree is perceived to inconvenience you where you live, you don't just go and fell it. Or because you need to do an extension to your house, you cut a tree. You can't do that. And I think Nana raised a point about what the practice elsewhere, where there's regulation. You cannot fell a tree without authorization, lest you get into some form of trouble. Maybe we need to do that kind of
I think that's what we're getting to, because if you've lost 80% of your forest
then
cover,
there has been, especially
you're in crisis.
Yes.
You're in crisis.
It's a crisis that has lasted for decades.
Yes.
Almost a century, actually.
You know, a couple of months ago, my kids' school, they actually decided to do this. So they sent emails to our parents if you want to participate. And then they put a species of trees. And so you go fill the form, you show which one you want. I think it was a maximum of 2 per parent or something. Then you choose, and then they will provide a seedling. So you come pick it up, and then you go and plant it in your neighborhood.
Yeah. But this bylaw about needing a permit before you can fell a tree, I would not be surprised if we have it.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
So we have to have more publicity, so people will become aware that you can't just, and then if you see somebody felling a tree, you can accost them to check if they have a permit.
You're compelled to plant 10 trees to replace it.
So that bylaw has to be given some publicity and some enforcement. Felix also talked about accountability because of our experiences over the years. I totally agree. If a budget is published, so we know what budget is going to be involved in this exercise, and after the exercise, if a statement is published about the expenditure and the items of the expenditure and the balance, will be good.
Transparency. Nana, let's forget about you being deputy minister. As minister, which portfolios did you hold? I know employment.
Information and employment. Yeah.
So 2.
Yeah.
In both cases, were you part of the cabinet?
You see, this business of cabinet ministers, I find it a little funny.
Okay, just hold on to that. I need answers to my question. As information minister, were you a cabinet minister?
But to answer,
were you listed as one of the 19?
No.
As employment, were you listed as one of the 19? Yes. So as information, no. But as employment, yes. Okay. So let me go to the story.
But did you attend cabinet as information minister, despite not?
But that's why
you can.
That's why
you can. But
that's why I wanted to.
Yeah, you can. But you will not be part of the 19 that votes.
No,
if there is a need for a vote, yes.
No. That's not the case. That's what I'm saying. It's a bit funny.
You said every attendee votes.
No, so per Article 76(1) of the 92 Constitution, the president, the vice president, and not less than 10 and not more than 19 ministers of state shall form the cabinet of the Republic of Ghana. Now, President Akufo-Addo has released a list of his cabinet members for his second term. And they include Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, Minister of Finance, Alan Kojo Chairman, Minister of Trade and Industry, Dominic Nitu, Minister of Defense, Ambrose Derry, Minister for the Interior, Shirley Ayoko-Botwe, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Godfrey Adami, Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Dr. Usu Efri-Akoto, Minister of Food and Agriculture, Matthew Opoku Prempeh, Minister of Energy, Yawose Duchum, Minister of Education, Kweku Ajimamenu, Minister of Health, Osei Chairman Sabunso, Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Dan Botwe, Minister of Local Government Decentralization and Rural Development, Samuel Abdullahi Jinapo, Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Cecilia Bina Dapa, Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, John Peter Mewu, Minister of Railways Development, Ignatius Bafuewa, Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Mavis Hawakumsin, Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Ibrahim Awal Mohammed, Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Francis Asensu-Bwachi, Minister of Works and Housing. So the president and vice president are also part of cabinet. We know the president chairs. In his absence, the vice president chairs. And with the previous one, the first term, we had monitoring and evaluation, regional reorganization and development, special development initiative, and transport. These 4 were part. Now we know that 3 of them no longer exist. That's evaluation, reorganization, special development. So we now have parliamentary affairs, local government, works and housing, fisheries and aquaculture, transport has lost out. And a few days ago, I remember on this show, I was asking how come a big and important ministry like Environment, Science and Technology does not have a deputy minister. There's no deputy minister for that ministry. That same ministry is not a part of the cabinet. And then you have transport, which is even bigger because of aviation. Missing out, yet railways development is in there. Communications, both communications and information are out of cabinet. We have fisheries in there, and all that. You can go on and on and on. Now you are trying to tell us something that you find it funny.
I find it funny, and I find it funny because it's a constraint put on the president by the Constitution.
Okay.
And so, if there are parts of the Constitution that I would like to see revised, it will be that part of the Constitution that says that.
Maximum 19.
Maximum 19.
Why?
I think the intent of this is that there should be 19 cabinet ministers.
Or 19 ministers, that's what you mean?
Yes, so that everybody will be in cabinet.
Yeah.
I think that is the intent.
That you shouldn't have more than 19 ministers.
You should have more than 19 ministers. That's the intent. But it has been breached. And so we now have this funny situation where out of, say,
25
or 26 ministers, the president is forced to take 19 and make a report to Parliament just to satisfy this constitutional provision. And then you have issues like, but why is this one not there? Why is this one not there? And it leads to all kinds of public misunderstanding and unnecessary worries. As we speak, people have the impression that if you are not on that list, then you don't attend cabinet. You've been dropped from cabinet. But that is not the case.
You attend the meeting.
No.
When you are in attendance, you being in attendance is different from you being a member.
Okay.
So if you see minutes of cabinet,
yeah,
it will show who are members and who were in attendance.
Yes.
And when it comes to decision making, those who are in attendance can participate in the discussion. But if, for example, something were put to vote, they will not be eligible to vote.
But you see, that is why I'm saying that it's funny. Because for what has been happening since Jerry Rawlings' time, there are more than 19 ministers.
True.
So you have about 35 ministers. They all sit in cabinet. There's no particular arrangement as to these are cabinet ministers and these are attendees. You see, they all sit together. There is no voting like Shuba has. No. The president sits in cabinet. He brings a matter. He introduces it. He asks the opinion if anybody has anything to say. He takes the feeling. So you are the minister for energy. You talk about the issue. Somebody is the minister for transport, talks about the issue. I'm the minister for environment, talk about the issue. He gets a sense of what people are saying. Then he takes a decision. So there's nothing like we are coming to vote on the matter. The cabinet advises the president. And every minister of state attends cabinet. Every minister. So when you have a list of 19, then the public impression is that some ministers have been dropped from cabinet. But all these ministers that you mentioned, whose names are not on this list, they attend cabinet. They take part in the decisions of cabinet.
Let me seek a little clarification.
Let me go on to show you. Now, in 2001 or 2002, Jacob Echebilanti,
yes,
was information minister.
Yes.
He was a member of cabinet. The information minister was.
He was also chief of staff.
No.
Oh, no.
He was chief of staff.
Yeah.
I succeeded him as information minister, but I was not in the
cabinet list.
The 19. So then you ask yourself about what is the what is the criteria? I mean, the previous information minister, so is it the ministry or is it the personality? Or what is it? Because Jake was a cabinet minister, and then he and tourism, and this is tourism, the minister for tourism at that time, I was the minister for tourism, and my minister was Awudu. Unfortunately, all these people are of blessed memory. So, Hawa Yakubu as Minister for Tourism was not part of the 19th. Jake Obecha Bilanti as information was part. Then the positions were switched. Jake becomes Minister for Tourism.
Tourism and redevelopment of the capital city.
Jake becomes Minister for Tourism. I, as a young man, goes to information. Information is no longer a cabinet ministry. Tourism is not a cabinet ministry. So you ask yourself, tourism
is more about the personalities.
So maybe it's about personality. I
was going to ask you that because you see, many years ago, I was looking at categorization, especially with the presidential staffers and presidential advisors, they are all put on a scale. That's when I found out that you have a scale like deputy minister non-MP, and then deputy minister MP is one step ahead of deputy minister non-MP. Then you have minister MP, and then you have minister non-MP.
But that is largely for purposes of salary, determine the salary.
Yes.
It's not about status or ranking.
So then, a few years later, I go to employment and it's a cabinet, So there's no fixed criteria. There's nothing like this ministry automatically is a cabinet is in the 19 and this ministry is not. There's nothing. I mean, if you saw today's list, you will say, why is so-so at this ministry not in it? And why is so-so at this ministry, which is in it? It's confusing. And even without mentioning names, you can see some ministerial positions here, and you would think that this one and this one should have been in. I mean, talking about national security, today with the security situation in West Africa, you would think that national security, and you see, it gives the impression that it is the president's priority. So if this ministry is not there, then the president doesn't consider the work of the ministry as not priority compared to other ministries. So then you ask yourself, national security today, with all the problems in Nigeria, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, Burkina Faso, and so on, national security will be a major priority. You would think that with the digitization that we're trying to build a new economy on, communications will be a priority, but communications is not there. You see, so it leads to all manner of confusion. Meanwhile, communications will attend cabinet.
In attendance. By the same constitution and the law.
They do that in attendance just to satisfy this constitution.
No, you don't get the point I'm making. I'm trying to drive a point. You see, just like board meetings, you can invite 1 billion people to be in attendance. But for a decision of the board to be recognized as legal and binding, it must be a decision taken by majority of the people who constitute the board. The point I'm driving at is that, for example, if the Constitution says that something must be done with the approval of cabinet, if that approval was done by more than the 21, that's this 19 plus the president and vice president, it becomes unconstitutional.
Have you seen any memorandum from cabinet since 1993 that says that by decision of 12 against 7, cabinet has approved?
No.
So I'm saying there's no voting there. So and when you have a meeting,
but that particular memo. That particular memo will detail, for example, those who attended the cabinet meeting?
No, it will be in the minutes.
They don't.
But
They
it will not be in the
even-
memo to Parliament.
Which memo have you seen that is they've listed? No. So it's just an albatross placed on us by this particular constitutional provision. If somebody is
it not rather our indiscipline? If from what you said,
it should be 19.
If from what you said, the spirit is that don't have more than 19 ministries and ministers. If that were the spirit, and you decide that you are going to have 30 and 32 and 33, how then does the constitution become an albatross?
So I'm saying
it's
that,
your indiscipline.
So I'm saying that because of the practice, you call it discipline. I call it the practice. From President Rawlings
right
up to today. This constitutional provision,
in fact, it exists only on paper.
But you have to satisfy it.
Yes.
That is why we are doing this big struggle.
So once again, form over substance.
To extract 19 from 30.
But if it is really nothing, from what you're saying, if it is really nothing, and it's just to satisfy something, why must there be what seems to be sleepless nights in determining who makes the 19? If everybody has the understanding you have, that this one is just paper to go and give to speaker to fulfill some, there must not be a big deal.
Yeah, but it's a big deal because it creates that ambiguity. I'm saying there are people, I listened to radio on my way here, and people say, why has this man been dropped from cabinet?
Yes.
He has not been dropped, he's in there.
No, but the paper has been dropped.
No.
So let me ask you a question. So for example, why will say transport be there the first step? What will be if it is just symbolic, what will be the reason why transport which was there will be dropped for, say, railway to go there?
Yeah.
So if it is just symbolic, you just resubmit what you took there the first time.
Yeah, but you see,
minus the ministries that have been scrapped.
But you see, the president is constrained in selecting the ministers. How many people now? 28 or something. The 28, in selecting them, he has to look at balances, gender, region, ethnic. He has to look at all of that in the 28. And parliament, these days, parliament is very... So, in selecting this 19, he's going to look at the same criteria. He's going to look at gender, he's going to look at ethnic, he's going to look at regional, all of that. No, that's why somebody can
my point is that if it really doesn't mean anything, then why should he have the same kind of headache you have in constituting his ministerial portfolio?
It's a problem we have created. So I'm saying that. So, like you are saying, it doesn't mean anything. But there's a list of 19 published. There is no person from Greater Accra. Somebody from Greater Accra, he doesn't know that this thing is nothing and that his man or woman still. Hey, we don't have anybody in the cabinet. So even in constituting this 19, extracting this 19 from the 28, all kinds of gymnastics.
Then it's not for nothing. Because Alagbeso is asking a question. He says, can you imagine a cabinet list without finance, defense, attorney general?
Yes.
If it's for nothing, we should be able to have a 19 that we don't even have the finance minister on it, and it should be fine.
Yeah, but somebody will also raise that with this digitization, I mean, we say that this is a year of roads. We've said it.
Yes.
And all of us are aggressively looking for roads. Somebody will say, why is the roads not there and why is so there?
Railway.
Is railway there?
Yes. Railway is there. Railway is there. Railway.
Yeah. Yes. Why is roads not there? So, and the reason why I gave you my experience, it's a combination of personalities, all kinds of criteria that you can define. And then, and it's all because all these gymnastics go on because you want to satisfy this constitutional provision.
But will this 19 be referred to as cabinet ministers? Will they be referred to as cabinet ministers?
A cabinet minister means what?
Oh, you should tell me.
The person who goes to cabinet.
Okay. So
that's what it means.
Would you be able to refer to a minister who is not on this list as a cabinet minister, although he attends cabinet meetings?
What is a cabinet minister?
It's a minister whose name is included in the maximum of 19 submitted to Parliament.
Okay,
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
But a cabinet minister too is a minister who goes to cabinet with the president.
Yeah, but first of all, he must be a minister so named by the president in accordance with 76(1).
You know, the difference between somebody in the 19 and the person who's not in the 19, I think there's a small salary difference.
But there's a difference.
Yes, small salary. But otherwise.
But there's a difference.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I've told you. Because I'm trying to. Oh, yeah, there's some small difference.
There is. There's cabinet and non-cabinet. There is.
There's some small difference.
Yes, there is.
Otherwise, for all practical purposes, all the 28 ministers attend cabinet. I mean, not by invitation, compulsory, part of your job. They all take part in decisions. I mean, because I have been in both, one not in the 19 and in the 19, there was absolutely no difference in my work in cabinet and so on. In fact, I believe I was checking some
bastardization of corporate governance.
I was checking, and it's not because we are trying to satisfy this constitutional thing that says that there has to be.
That's 19, one way of looking at it. It's because we've decided to be indisciplined.
It has been difficult to. The records, the experience has shown. Well, the experience, the experience has shown. It has been difficult to live in this, with this 19.
Yes. You know, with this thing that you're talking, this is in attendance. I mean, tomorrow he'll be 78, Uncle Atu Ahoy. Tomorrow will be his 78th birthday. You know, at Hearts of Oak, I was part of the management as the communications person for the team. But he insisted that I attend and sit in all board meetings.
In attendance?
Yes, all board meetings, because he felt that because of what I did, I needed to be at the heart of where decision is taken so that I can appreciate it properly and communicate it properly. Yes, but it never made me a member of the board.
Yeah.
Yes, but for what I do, he believed that I needed to be there. So I was at all board meetings.
It's all for form, because when you attend a board meeting, everybody knows you are not a member of the board. You don't get an allowance. You don't get any perks unless they decide that some perks should be extended to you. You don't vote.
Maybe the refreshment.
Maybe the lunch. Board meetings, they don't do refreshment. They do major. I went to some board aid with a friend. And on this, so I thought they were doing a food fair. Food fair. No, on the corridor. On the corridor. The health insurance. You know, I used to go there those days when
the House of Oak, there was a special chichinga. You should see Harizako and the late Alaji house.
I went to this place, and on the whole corridor, yes, I mean, fufu, palm soup, granite soup, light soup. Hey. So I thought they were doing a food there.
Directors must chop.
It was a board meeting. Yes. So when we are in attendance, I mean, this discussion that we are having. Yes. The last time, I don't know if it was Felix or somebody, he brought an MP along.
Yes. Yeah, he was.
He sat. Yeah. He is in attendance because he doesn't take part in our discussions here. But in cabinet, all the 28 ministers, and even the sitting, there's nothing like cabinet ministers sit on the right side and none on. No, it's all mixed. And when I wasn't a cabinet, I mean in the 19, and when I was in the 19, the same rules, the same everything. So the reason why I say it's funny is that it became an albatross, this constitutional provision, and then you have to extract 19 out of 30 or 35. And all kinds of criteria now is imposed on you. So now you have to look at gender, then you have to look at the ethnicity, you have to look at it, because once they say 19 cabinet, if there's no Gamma in it, Gamma people will say, hey, but why is there no Gamma in the cabinet?
In fact,
so it's an issue.
Is there?
I should think. I haven't checked. So, you know, all kinds of, and then you go and ask, but why is that?
Shelley,
why, you don't know she's Gamma?
No, I'm saying that Shelley, and I now have confirmed.
Madam is one girl.
So I'm okay. Let me check if there's a Fanti.
It's okay. I think we should go on.
How are represent the central?
Today is also the birthday of the Honorable Neil Ante van der Poel, MP for Dodo. Today is his.
What's his name?
I know he's been around a long time. You know, when growing up, my grandmother was at Palladium, so I stayed with them for some time. That's actually where I started schooling. Okay. At the time I was...
That's my constituency.
At the time I was in the primary school. He was assemblyman for one of the sub-metros at Ashiri.
Around Zongole.
Yes.
You speak Ghana?
Oh yes, I speak Ghana.
Okay.
Just as I speak.
So your boss, Dr. Mani Buama,
okay.
He says as for digitization, Baumia has abandoned the economy and annexed Asler's job. He's the reason communications has been dropped from cabinet.
They are adequately represented.
He should fix the economy whilst focusing on digitization, which are low-hanging fruit.
Digitization is adequately represented.
You don't want two people representing.
Yes. So Dr. Baumia is representing digitization in cabinet.
Yeah, he's taking care of them. Well, Randy, I think that the number of issues, I agree with Nana Komia's submission to some extent, especially in relation to.
I'm sure you even had the opportunity of being.
Yes, I represented my boss a number of times. So most of the things he's saying are accurate. Indeed, I don't recall ever witnessing a vote on any matter. What is it that the submissions that are done gives an indication where everybody is funding. It is in very rare cases that there is such disagreement that the matter is shelved pending further consultation. And it's not only ministers. Sometimes civil servants, public servants, and any other representative whose participation would enhance. Sometimes experts are brought to enrich the discussion. So there's really no hard and fast rule in the deliberations of cabinets. I also agree with Nana Kumia when he has said that perhaps the use of the number, not less than 10 and not more than 19, was meant to give an indication as to the number of ministers that any particular president should have. That definitely is a constraint. I do not subscribe to a bloated government like we had in the recent past. But I also think that this one ties the hands of the president because the constitution then, or the framers of the constitution, would then assume that there are only 19 sectors that ought to be taken care of. Exigencies can happen. That would make it necessary for a whole new sector to evolve, to which we must respond in a certain substantive way. So it may require a whole ministry. So if we went strictly by that spirit that we have highlighted this morning, the president may be constrained. They will not be able to do what he has to do. It doesn't mean that we should also act recklessly and just create ministries for the sake of it, as we witnessed in the last 4 years or so. But I disagree when Nana Komia says this is just to satisfy the constitutional requirements. So it doesn't matter who gets on there. It is true that other ministers are invited. But I think that the proper practice, really, is to invite ministers whose participation may be relevant to the discussion of the day, because perhaps their sectors may be closely linked. For instance, if there's an issue with road accidents and cabinet wants to devise a means to address it, if the roads minister is a member of cabinet, it would make sense to have the transport minister there also, because road accidents cut across two sectors, roads and transport. But it does not mean that there should be a wholesale representation.
But you see, that is, one second. You see, but that is the point I am making. You have sat in cabinet. You were invited.
No, I was not invited. My minister was not there, so I represented him.
This is what I'm saying. So you were invited to represent your minister.
No, my minister was a cabinet minister. He was not present in the country at this time.
You were invited. I mean, they could have not invited you.
Yes, but the requirement is that if there is representation, it must be there.
What I'm saying is,
okay, I get you.
Yes,
they could have said that. Okay, minister is not there. So
the cabinet is the minister or the cabinet minister, not the deputy.
Not the deputy.
That's how come, for example, in Parliament, a deputy might not be able to represent the minister.
But that is the rule in cabinet. There is no such.
The point I'm making is
I get you. I get the point.
You have to be invited.
Exactly, to be there. Yeah.
But
they will send you the document.
They will send you. But they may choose not to invite you.
That is
your
true.
minister is absent.
So then that's
but as for your minister,
he has to be there.
He has to be there. In addition to all the rest of the people.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is
permanent members.
The point I'm making is that
that's what I'm saying.
I agree. But the point I'm making is that I disagree.
What you're talking about is a practice.
It's a practice.
Yes.
Which is not backed by the
any law.
Because the law clearly tells us that it says the cabinet of this republic shall consist of the president, the vice president, not less than 10, no more than 19.
Yeah.
What it presupposes is that it says it shall consist of.
Yeah.
So at any point in time that you have a cabinet
that must be met.
that has more than 19 persons, and they are not just in attendance to provide
information,
expert opinion or information, then you're breaching the Constitution.
You see, there's nothing like there are, President has called a cabinet meeting, and there are 20 people present. But out of the 20, the 19, the 19 should form the quorum.
Yes.
There's nothing like that.
Not quorum, but anybody outside the 19 is not recognized by the Constitution.
That's what I'm saying.
To be part of a cabinet and to take decisions
for
cabinet.
Yeah, but that is in practice. That is what is done.
But
so the point I make is that we've been breaching
but that's
the
the
law.
point I make. That I disagree when you say that it does not matter, and that this is only to satisfy a certain requirement, and that the actual practice is, the practice happens, but it does not appear that it is in consonance with the Constitution.
Yeah, my understanding is that he was focusing on what the reality is.
Yes, but then what the actual reality should be is that anybody else who attends outside of this list is there for purposes of information.
Yes.
And also, it should
just
be needs-based. You don't just go and sit there to listen.
But you see,
for instance,
that's what I'm saying. You see, you have to be invited.
Yeah, exactly.
They can choose not to invite.
Exactly.
But once you are part of the 28,
you can. You are saying that you should be a constant.
No. Not it should be. You are.
No, but by the Constitution, by the Constitution,
by the practice.
But you see, the practice must be in conformity with the Constitution.
Exactly.
It is not.
So to the extent that anything is not in conformity with the Constitution, it is
exactly. Randy, I'm sorry,
illegal.
So now this thing becomes all this gymnastics, and when you look at President Rawlings' time, the same issue.
No, Randy, you see,
Kufuor's time, the same.
Randy, it is not necessarily illegal, because whereas the Constitution says the president should have 19 cabinet ministers, the president is also allowed
to appoint more.
Not appoint. To invite people whose contributions may be useful to the.
You can have 1 million people attending the cabinet meeting.
You recall that, I stand to be corrected, but I think it was President Mills who introduced the idea of the general secretary of the party attending, and it is necessary because he is deemed as the one who runs the party, on whose ticket the president runs. So perhaps he provides the ideological backing to the things that will be done in cabinet. It's in order.
But that person is in attendance.
He's in attendance.
Not there as a member.
It is not illegal. It is not illegal. But I think...
No, you don't get the point I'm making. I'm saying that to the extent that it becomes a part of their function, like you are bound to attend it. It's part of your ministerial function. And all of you participate in the decision making.
No. That's not how it should work. But that's how it works. But you see, so this constitutional provision imposes a certain constraint that can be addressed without necessarily breaching it. Again, when the president publishes the list and he purports to do so in conformity with the constitutional requirements, at least the list should give indication that the president is putting his best foot forward. Because what the Constitution assumes and what the public also assumes is that this is the think tank for government. These are the people who decide our fate, basically. In any event, every agreement that goes to Parliament, every major decision that goes to Parliament would have to go to Parliament in the name of the cabinet. So the assumption by the man listening to us this morning is that these are the best and brightest in government.
Creme de la creme.
Creme de la creme. Whose input the president values and whose advice the president is most likely to listen to in terms of deciding to take one step or the other. So when the name comes and people express reservations, as Nana Kumia has indicated, you cannot fault them.
No.
Because they also look forward to seeing a certain level of quality. Not that anybody is being disrespected, but out of the lot, there are a few who, by virtue of their experience, their standing in Ghanaian society, professional background and everything, people expect to hear. There are also some sectors that you cannot do without. You know, often, information sometimes is in, sometimes is out. My own experience, having worked there, is that information should be a constant in cabinet. Because I'm sure you've wondered sometimes how an information minister can be called on a matter and he feigns ignorance, that he doesn't know. And it happens. Many things happen.
Well, it's not to catch him. You see, that's the difficulty. You are saying that an information minister
must be there.
Must be in cabinet. Because you are looking at the 19. But you see, an information minister is always in cabinet.
I agree.
So, no. You see, this thing about it should be, it's like it's not there.
There's a reason why this has been done. The Constitution has done this. And the Constitution basically says, and I think we accept, that these are the people who should be doing the thinking
I mean, for example, in the Fourth Republic, there's never been a list of cabinet members without finance.
Exactly.
Attorney General,
you can't do
defense,
that. Exactly.
Interior.
That gives
It's
an
never
indication
happened.
that those portfolios you cannot do without. They must
It's
be there.
never happened.
Those are just 4 or 5.
Yes,
no, but I'm saying that they are always a
information.
constant.
So the point I'm making, information should be in the list. So
But-
when you
but
read
you
and
see-
the information inside is
but
not
you see,
there,
once
even
it
though
is-
he will attend.
One second, it is conceivable because there's no criteria.
That they are there.
In fact, the only minister named in the Constitution
Is the Attorney
Attorney
General.
General.
Yes.
So, apart from the Attorney General, a president may come and not include finance.
That
You
may-
can-
that
you
may-
can fault it.
Yes, but there must also be a reason why
They are always there.
in chopping and changing and all that. Some particular ministries have never been affected,
Exactly.
irrespective of which party and which president.
But you can also have a president who will not include finance.
Yeah, but that's
Well,
an
we are yet
extreme.
to-
Yeah,
we are
that would be
yet
an
to- maybe
extreme
after
situation.
Christ comes.
That would be an extreme situation because
And-
often,
that's the
almost
choice.
everything that happens in cabinet depends on the finance minister. Sometimes you can have all the deliberations, all the ideas. There may be agreements on a particular thing that has to be done. When the finance
but
minister
you see-
this this cannot be done, it will be torpedoed
Yes,
because
but
it
you
cannot
see,
be done
the
because of
finance
his importance.
minister,
Yeah.
You see, whether he's on this 19 or not.
Yeah, he will play a role.
No, not you.
He will be there. But that would be, I'm saying that, you see,
The people who have not been mentioned, security,
they will all be there, I know.
They will be there.
But they are not cabinet.
They are not cabinet ministers. But you see, I'm saying that
By the book.
But the
They are
impression
not
that
cabinet ministers.
but the impression that the president has conveyed with this list, in conformity with the constitution, out there today, to the ordinary man on the street today, is that these are the best.
You know,
and
in
brightest
fact,
government.
if there were an issue with a decision of cabinet and there are legal repercussions,
yes,
it is the 19
who will bear
plus
responsibility?
the president and the vice
Who
president
will
who
bear
bear
responsibility?
responsibility.
Exactly.
Nobody can go and hold any minister outside of this 19. But maybe at that meeting he spoke most.
Exactly.
And it was this thing that got
even swayed.
But if people
Yeah,
will have to take responsibility for a decision of cabinet, is this 19 plus
Randy,
the president and vice president?
again, I mentioned information. National security. It is a no-brainer. He must be there. Because maybe our jurisdiction is a bit more relaxed. In countries where they take or they have very pressing security challenges, everything revolves around the security minister. So I believe that the security minister...
But it's not in all situations that you get a national security minister.
Yeah, but our constitution says there should be a national security minister. So there's
No,
no way.
there should be a minister responsible for national
fine.
security.
So whoever,
Not a- yes.
yes, whoever is charged with that responsibility.
So
either the
assuming you
defense
had
minister,
a
defense
coordinator
minister,
and an advisor and not a
Okay.
minister, you designate
that
one
may
of
be
the
true.
ministers.
So that person has to be there. Again, I am not satisfied with the absence of the communications minister, and it is not because of digitalization.
You have a bias.
No, and it's not that. Maybe you can say that because of my experience there,
Yeah, you
I
have a
understand what they
bias.
do. But it is not because of digitization. I have told you that I think that whole digitization is really much ado about nothing. They are just hyping very ordinary things. But the communications ministry, in terms of their work, scope, and function, are a major sector. Indeed, a large chunk of our economy today revolves around the work that they do. The telcos contribute some of the largest streams of revenue to the public purse.
So
also, their work.
One
Their
second.
work.
You
For
see,
instance,
the difficulty that arises is that now you are saying.
I think that
Then in that case, you are saying somebody else should not.
Yes,
be there.
you see. Oh yes, it is.
So,
of course.
this is what we get
So, Randy, you raised a point about the finance minister. Imagine a cabinet without the defense ministry. Or defense minister. It is obvious that defense, because of what they do, are key, critical to preserving the territorial integrity of Ghana. There's no way you can go to cabinet without them. So it is in that vein that I'm saying that, given the importance of communication, look, there are just about every Ghanaian has a means of communication. So if the sector that underpins that is missing in decision making at the cabinet level, it is a critical issue.
I mean, the world lives on it.
Exactly. Also,
you see,
you look at
the communication minister is not.
I know that she will be there, but I'm saying that Randy, but we are going strictly.
I was shocked by that exclusion.
Nana, had you not provided this information, I know it. Maybe Randy, because
But
of
that's
his
what I'm
majority,
saying.
also is aware.
That's what I'm saying.
But it is not everybody who is aware of this. It's not everybody who will listen to this program, watch this program.
So
So the impression you have conveyed out there is that such a person, and forget about even the personality, the critical function that
at least even those the 19, if it's even 5 cities, they will earn more.
Absolutely. So the point is that
and they'll carry the
you can't
title
do
of
that.
cabinet
Exactly.
ministers.
You cannot do that. Again, sometimes too, whereas personality can be downplayed a bit, you look at the quality of the person. her contributions over the period.
I was shocked about that one.
Exactly.
I never saw it coming.
And compare her to another person whose output and posture we are all aware of. It creates a bit of a problem. What is it that this person is bringing?
Around the corner.
What is it that this person is bringing? But I think that perhaps the fundamental problem we have is the way that our constitution has been framed. Because elsewhere, especially in parliamentary democracies, when you talk of cabinet, it essentially is the ministers. So when they say the prime minister has named his cabinet, he has named his ministers. So everybody is doing. There's no exception. So I think that we have a difficulty where we've adopted.
You have come back to
you think we need to take
this thing.
So you agree that we should take a second look at it, both of you?
Yeah, the wording and framing of it, perhaps, so that there's certainty.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But everybody goes. As an asset, everybody goes. Yeah, but I think that practice must be stopped.
It must be needs-based. Is even you. You are saying that because communications is not there, it's an issue.
Yeah.
But the issue
in practice,
communications is there. So this matter of.
But the president has not formally.
But the constitution says 19.
But the president has not formally. You see, the president has not formally communicated. But you know that in some instances, the ministers go with their chief directors. They go with advisors. They are a raft of civil servants.
They are all in attendance.
They will never be mentioned.
They are in attendance.
The public is unaware of that.
Yeah. If you are not part of the 19, you are in attendance.
You are in attendance.
Even if you go every day, you are in attendance.
But there's no motive.
The most contribution.
So I think that the problem really. I think that we have adopted things that we have not properly defined in our constitution. We need to.
Phyllis doesn't want some people to be in attendance.
Oh yes, I'll be honest with you. I have avoided mentioning names so that I don't sound.
No, I'm saying
that is my opinion.
You don't want communications to be in attendance.
Yes, I want them
to be named.
Absolutely.
Yes. So
it is necessary.
So he's not even buying his boss's view that communications is already represented.
Oh, but I know that my boss said that in jest. Really, the point is that
he does well in comedy.
Oh, that's unfair.
He has a very good sense of comedy.
No, his sense of humor is terrible. His sense of humor, he's too serious for my liking.
He has
really? Yeah. Obama is too serious for my liking.
Every time meeting, we just take dicks and joke and just laugh.
Yeah,
he has a good sense of humor.
Maybe he has that with you.
He has a good sense. Oh, but he has a good sense of humor.
He's afraid of you.
He has a good sense of humor. That's when you forget it.
We need to take a break, but on our earlier subject, I still call him Frank Edu of Car Bank.
Oh, okay.
I can't stop adding Car Bank.
He's perpetually
associated. It says that as someone who led an effort to plant 3,500 trees in a day across Accra, Kumasi, Takrady, and Tema, I can say for sure that planting the trees is the easiest part. Nurturing and maintaining the trees to grow is the problem. In this effort, as Nana Akumia suggested, the government must necessarily have a work call dedicated to ensuring countrywide that the planted trees are nurtured. President Kufuor did some reforestation project at a place called Aigbe, but it was only 20,000 acres, certainly a drop in the ocean. This exercise must replant the depleted forest on an ongoing and permanent basis until all depleted forests are replanted. A program as such also provides permanent jobs for the youth working the streets jobless. My 2 cents. So that's Frank Edu of Car Bank's contribution on the issue. Frank
Edu spent such a long
Do not drop the awareness. The fight is still on. Constant disinfection is still very pivotal in the fight against COVID-19. Call an expert today on 020-300-4055 or 050-126-5426 to ensure your space is disinfected.
Blood gives life. Life is very important. Let's donate blood to save lives. On Saturday, 19 June 2021, Ignite Media, Metro TV, Original TV, and Original FM is humbly inviting you to blood donation exercise. Come donate and save a life. The donation will take place at Metro TV's premises on Dr. Issa Street, close to Alisa Hotel at North Region, Accra. The blood donation exercise will start at 7 a.m. It is in commemoration of the World Blood Donation Day. Join us to save lives as we donate blood for the blood bank. This exercise is in partnership with Blue Skies, Pharma Nova, and 3Fair. Share blood to save a life.
For people like you.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me, I have Nana Akomia and Felix Pacho Fosu. The show is brought to you in kind partnership with X Natural Mineral Water. We should have treated this as two separate issues, but because of our time, I'll box them up.
Sure.
Terminate unreasonable $150 Kotoka International Airport COVID-19 testing agreement with Frontiers minority. And the other one says that government contracts another company to purchase 5 million Sputnik 5 vaccines at $26 per dose. So the minority in Parliament is called for the immediate termination of the contract agreement between government and Frontiers Healthcare Services for COVID-19 testing at Kotoka International Airport. It follows a revelation by Transport Minister Kweko Fure-Siema that per each $150 testing done at the airport, Government of Ghana takes only $10 as against $140 for the company. The minister disclosed this when he attended upon the House to answer a question in the name of Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu. According to Mr. Siama, between September and December last year, so that's 4 months, for just 4 months, 4 months in 2020, 4 months. Total amount made from testing at the airport sums up to over $17 million. Out of this, $16 million went to Frontiers Healthcare Services, while Ghana had a little over $1 million. The Member of Parliament for South Dai, Roxanne Dafema, told Class News' Parliamentary Affairs reporter, Charles Akrofi, that the minister's explanation was convincing to the extent that it is a fact. We have always known. You know, it's taken about a year for the features of this transaction to be known to the public. In his view, it was not a reasonable contract for government to enter into with a company to offer such facility or services which we think Noguchi could have offered, and this process could have gone to improve Noguchi, or could have even built another Noguchi in another location in this country. We are paying to a private person as much as $140 for every $150 fee charged. That is the tragedy of the situation. Describing a transaction as a completely needless agreement, he noted that I think that the government is taking the country for granted. You cannot offer such an agreement for services to a company for which it is generating proceeds, and then the percentage of proceeds that is coming to us is about 15%. It's not 15%. It's not even about 10%. It is most unacceptable. Mr. Dafuma further stated that in the coming days, some members of the Health Committee will bring the issue up in Parliament for thorough deliberations. He called for the termination of the agreement because, given the terms, it doesn't make economic sense to maintain this agreement. I'm sure that the viewers of this program know what my views are on that matter. Now, more controversy keeps coming up regarding government's procurement of Russia's Sputnik 5 for COVID-19 vaccination in the country. In a document cited by the media, the Health Ministry has contracted another supplier, SL Global Limited, to purchase 5 million doses of the drug at $26 per dose. Digging further into the 20-page document, the Ghanaian-owned company serving as the intermediate is to deliver the vaccines in batches, 1 million doses each month until the 5th month, when a country would have had the enough doses for inoculation. Among other things, the agreement was that the purchase will not include transportation, storage, and other charges. Thus, the cost is likely to rise. None of the seller or any of its connected persons shall be subjected to any liability under this agreement or otherwise for any loss suffered by the buyer or any person whatsoever, including patients, resulting in the use of the product. This is a part of the agreement. None of the seller or any of its connected persons shall be subjected to any liability under this agreement or otherwise for any loss suffered by the buyer or any person whatsoever, including patients, resulting in the use of the product. Thus, in a letter dated March 16, 2021, the Health Ministry besieged the Finance Ministry to support it to raise $130 million, that's a document I read yesterday, to be used to pay for COVID-19 vaccines, which were being procured through some third parties. And it goes on and refers to the Norwegian publication and the Dubai connection, the Emirati connection and all that. Felix,
yeah.
Let me start off with you. Frontiers and Sputnik 5.
Randy,
Yes.
I regret to have to say from the very onset that it does appear that the whole tragedy of COVID is viewed by this government as an opportunity to wage an attack on the public purse and cream off as much undeserved profit as possible. Because some of the arrangements they have entered into are mind-boggling. First is this Frontiers arrangement. Randy, what did we need an external company to do this for? What extraordinary service are they providing that our world-class Noguchi Memorial Institute cannot provide? And how is the agreement so skewed that we get so little? And this foreign entity that did not even appear to have any gravitas or experience or capacity in the field is screaming of supernormal profit. How do we enter into an arrangement where somebody takes $140 and we take $10? When everything that is being done.
As an intermediary of a South Korean company.
Absolutely. And even there's a lot of shadiness and haziness surrounding the ownership structure of that entity. Again, Randy, I'm sure you are aware that at the time that they were given this contract, they were not even registered with Ghanaian authorities.
True.
And the explanation you are giving is that we're in an emergency situation. Who says that in an emergency situation you cannot follow due process, except that you can fast track it? And in the midst of this haze, you have all this siphoning of monies that could have gone to strengthen our own institutions. If another pandemic strikes, how can we not have a situation where our institutions will have the capability to help us address it without any reliance on a foreign entity? Why did government not see the wisdom in building local capacity through these means? And if you look at the arrangements that they put in place, it is so stringent that the focus is so much on money. Randy, are you aware that when you travel and you are coming into Ghana, you have to pay for the test at the originating airport or port of entry before you get here? If you don't pay, they will not allow you to get onto the flight. And there's even another issue. Randy, are you aware that you are also required actually to take a PCR test in the country where you are coming from? If the test shows negative, you are not allowed to board the aircraft.
If it shows positive.
If it shows positive, you are not allowed to board the aircraft.
Yes.
Which actually then questions the relevance of the testing that they do. Because the test they do here...
It's like having
I agree, but strictly speaking, that test is a PCR test. It's of a higher quality than what they offer ordinary tests.
But you know what has happened in defense of that?
I know that a few people have slipped.
In defense of that, there are people who had
but you see,
PCR negative tests but tested positive.
But then all that means...
So that sieve is important.
I agree, but all what that means is that we just need to tighten the collaboration we have with those entities. And we may not even need this agreement to cost us this amount of money.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because if a PCR test in the US, London, cannot be relied upon, what is the guarantee that ours can be relied upon anyway? So it is about strengthening collaboration with the agencies outside. So you don't have to put up this expensive activity here to siphon off more money. But what we have essentially done is to cook a deal for some shady, hazy characters to make money off our backs. And clearly, you find that this activity was not done with a view to protecting the Ghanaian. It was an opportunity for some to fleece us. Even before we are able to settle this one, then comes the Sputnik matter. And Randy, yesterday, the Ministry of Health purported to speak, but they said nothing, really. They said nothing, even though they spoke. What they issued was an elaborate but implausible cover-up for what has happened. Their point essentially is that they had to pay far more than they should have paid because they could not reach agreements with former Russian channels. In other words, the Russian government and other agencies concerned with the development of the vaccine. That is the explanation they are giving us. So, Randy, our government is saying that suddenly there is a breakdown in Ghana-Russia relations, a relationship that has endured decades, so that our president and senior government officials have no leverage or influence over the Russian government in order to ensure that we are able to source this vaccine at the source. The entity behind this is the Russian Direct Investment Fund. Randy, the Russian Direct Investment Fund has published countries with whom they have such arrangements, who are sourcing it directly. Some they have given to for free, but others are purchasing. The likes of India have actually been able to make arrangements for millions of doses of this vaccine directly. And they are paying $13, but the $3 extra is actually taxation.
Yes.
What they call goods and services
tax. They have a 5%
exactly.
tax. Yeah.
So, strictly speaking, they got it for under $10. It is their own arrangement that has led it to the 13. Yes. We don't have a similar arrangement. We are not going to impose taxes on that. But the reason why the Indians even impose taxes is a private entity in India, certified by their government, that is doing it. They managed to get it for $10, and they are paying taxes to the Indian government. If the Indian government waives it, they are paying $10 or less. Sputnik.
There's no cost of transportation, nothing, insurance, nothing.
But
in fact, Nana,
everything that you get.
Nana, with this one, the one that I read, the SL Global one, the $26
is minus all of that.
It's exclusive
exactly
of transportation, storage, and other charges.
How about the $19?
Same.
It's exclusive.
Same.
So even if you added transport,
it will be far.
Really?
Yes.
We may decide to waive.
Is that what he said
duties
in the statement?
But the ministry doesn't mention it.
No, they didn't put in their statement. But if you check the agreement, so for example, this one, the SL Global, in the agreement, I have the agreement. I'll send it to you.
So the $19 is exclusive of transport and insurance and all of that.
Absolutely.
I'll double check on the 19, but on the 26, it is in the contract that is exclusive of transport, storage,
insurance,
and other charges. And other charges.
Has it been executed?
Yes.
26.
Yes.
It's been executed.
Yes. That's 130 million that the finance ministry asked them to go and raise irrevocable bonds of 13, and they later asked for it to be.
If the $19 dues that we are paying was inclusive of transportation and freight, nobody will complain because we will understand. The ministry is saying that the $10 that we are quoting, or that Sputnik is quoting, and Sputnik issued a statement on 24th November 2020, about 6 months ago, or 7 months ago, indicating that the international price of the vaccine was less than $10. In other words, what they will give to international clients was less than $10. What happens after that, as to how you transport it into your country and all that, is entirely your business. We are purchasing that from this entity at $19.
Minus transport.
Yes, otherwise the ministry will put it in here. There will be no, in fact, that will be their greatest defense. That will be their greatest defense. That, oh, we are buying it at $10, but in order for the entity to transport it here and pay for the cost and all that, we have to pay an extra $9. That will be their most credible defense. It is not in their statement. And if you read the VG, and really there's a certain pretension. When you read the minister's statement, he creates the impression that it is Ghanaian media reports that they are responding to. Meanwhile, we all know that this one has emanated from a Norwegian publication that has conducted this investigation. Again, the other excuse that they mount, that they could not make headway in discussions with the Prime Minister of Russia, RDIF itself, and Sputnik and other entities, also remains untenable. Randy, you know why? Because as far back as March 2021, Reuters put out a news item which showed that this same RDIF that our officials say they cannot reach has actually succeeded in engaging Ghanaian officials to conduct tests for what they call the one-shot Sputnik vaccine. And as I speak to you, indications are that the trials are going on. So, Randy, our officials were able to engage RDIF, the Russian entity in charge of this vaccine distribution, to conduct tests, use Ghanaians as guinea pigs to try the efficacy of their vaccines. And yet, we cannot leverage that same engagement to get the vaccine at the price that they are selling it for. So, clearly, what they are telling us cannot be true. They have opted for this route because it creates avenue for some supernormal profit to be made, for some crooked officials to line their pockets with money that is got through rent seeking. So, whichever way you look at this whole arrangement, this government has essentially decided that the health.
Let me just help, Nana. On the question you asked about the transportation and all that, the $19 one, it says that the total price is inclusive of documentation, shipping, packaging, logistics and expenses in relation to shipment of the vaccine from the order's place of origin to the Republic of Ghana. It ends there.
So that includes
order's place of origin.
Yes.
Includes
from the order's place of origin.
From the order.
Yes, the order's place of origin.
Yes,
place of origin.
From the Republic
of
Dubai
Ghana.
to here.
Yes.
From Dubai to here.
Yes.
But
that's it.
But if you went to Russia, there's a reason why Sputnik has put out the price. That this the international price.
Felix.
No,
indicated that the 19 did not include.
Yes, but you see, they say the order's place because you are using a middleman. Okay, who is the orderer? The one who has ordered it is this middleman, the sheikh and his group. They are the ones who have ordered it. They have an arrangement with the Russian entity RDIF to order it. So they have charged you for bringing it from Dubai to here.
No.
But that's what it is.
No, not necessarily.
The address, that's the address place. How is it not necessary?
If I bought
but I
don't want to do this, but I'm saying that you must at least make the arrangement.
But I'm saying that the arrangement,
I asked you a direct question.
Yes.
And you said no, it's not, it doesn't include, if it
no,
was
but
true,
shipping from Russia, listen, shipping from Russia to
you
here.
said it would be in the States.
Because you see, Nana Komia.
So,
Nana Komia. Nana, listen.
If you say, oh, it's from Dubai.
No. When you go and get it from Dubai, the sheikh and his group are charging you for the cost they incur to bring it to Ghana.
Yes.
If the government of Ghana goes to buy it, it's $10. They don't have to pay anything extra. We will waive taxes, we will find a means to transport it and all that.
You said that.
Yes, but that is true. Yes.
No. You said the 19
because
did not include
it includes
transport and all of that.
It includes the address charge, which is Dubai.
It's been clear that it includes.
But I'm saying that, no, listen. All the countries that went to buy it, Egypt, India, or what do you call it? Hungary, Slovakia. And if you read the VG reports, if you read the list that Sputnik has put out, they gave it to them at $10. How you cut it and bring it to your country is your own business. But once you go and use an intermediary, you incur additional costs. And Randy, they did not say it, but they've put their marker on it, have they not? Have they not put their marker on it? And Randy, how is it that the SL Logistics one is at $13? How is it that it's at $13?
The SL Logistics is actually, the SL is actually 26. It's even more.
But that is one dose.
Yes, 26.
The one from Dubai
19
is 19
yes.
for one dose. So
yes.
2 doses is $38.
Yes,
that's what it is. So it's far more expensive than the SL.
No, the SL is 26 for one. So the 2 takes you to 52.
Is it $26 for
one dose?
I thought it was 13.
No.
I think
initially I thought it was 13.
Okay.
When I checked the agreement, it's per dose. So it will come to 52.
Okay, fine. That's fine. Yeah. But I'm saying that all the countries that have been listed by this, Sputnik entity, have been given a certain price, $10. The ministry says that is the ex-factory price, but at least that is what the government of Ghana would have held on to. You've gone through a sheikh who also has to incur costs to bring it here and add his markup, in other words, his profit, before it gets to you. So we could have avoided that expenditure. Randy, the effect of this is that this 19, if you added $1, could have bought 2 of those. So that if now you are going to vaccinate an Akomia, I could have vaccinated you too if you had gone to the source. But the excuse they are giving for not being able to go to Russia is not tenable in the face of new evidence that has emerged that they are actually conducting trials here. The people, you are so deep in negotiation and engagement with them that you can allow them, you get your FDA to give them authorization to carry out trials. Yet, you don't have the capacity to tell them that, oh, but you are conducting trials, so let us buy it from you. You say that you have to go through a certain route to go and get it at $19. If anybody heard that the government of Ghana went to Russia direct and it cost us this much, and this is the price that they were giving it to us, as they've given to everybody, there will not be an issue. But it is the use of intermediaries at a time when you could have used a direct route that has led to this markup, that has led to the increase in the cost. The other issue, Andy, is that the ministry says in passing in their statement that there was some procurement process. They don't elaborate. Because indeed, the VG story says that the procurement process was bypassed.
In fact, read how they couched
it is so flippant.
One.
It is so flippant.
Read how they couched
exactly. I'll look for it. It is so flippant. It is in passing, such that if indeed, and indeed, one of their strongest defenses would have been that, we went to the procurement authority and they gave us authorization, because that means that the PPA would have done their own checks.
You check, because
and agreed.
For the same vaccine,
you
sign a contract with a company to do it for 26 for you. You sign a contract with another company to do it for 19. You sign a contract with another company to do it for 13. How do you explain that?
Yeah. So the difference is in who you use. The difference is in who you use and the markups that they have. So they have to answer questions relating to the, procurement process, whether or not they got authorization from the PPU to do it. Some elements within the NPP have argued that, because this was an emergency situation, should we wait for people to die whilst looking for vaccines that cost less, or vaccines that come directly from the manufacturer? But really, those countries that have gotten it for $10, have their people died? Or have their government waited for people to die before they got that $10? The third issue, Randy, is the fact that you know that this is an international financial agreement. And there's established practice in our Supreme Court that has disallowed or annulled agreements that were entered into because of the lack of parliamentary approval. And the Woyome matter that became so topical for years. What was the thrust of it? He said eventually when Woyome was ordered to pay back the money, it was because the Supreme Court determined that Article 1815 of the Constitution was not complied with. In this particular instance too, at least according to Minority Ranking Member on Health, who is a parliamentarian and would know, there was no parliamentary approval sought. So it raises issues of a constitutional breach on the part of this government. I do not believe that the urgency of the situation is an excuse for bypassing constitutional requirements, because we have been in this country. Parliamentarians have been summoned and things have been brought to them under a certificate of emergency when government deems it necessary. So if they really meant to do this, they could have done it with the consent of Parliament. And the other issue is that some of the personalities involved have questionable matters hanging around them. Indeed, if you read the Norwegian publication, they mention a Norwegian man who they say is wanted by the Norwegian authorities for alleged acts of money laundering and other crimes against the Norwegian state. So it also means that the government of Ghana did not do any due diligence to ensure that it was dealing with credible entities whose participation will not result in any embarrassment for the country, because it creates problems. At a time when we have struggled to get our name removed from the list of countries engaged in money laundering, if you are seen to be operating at such close quarters with people with such entities, it creates a problem. It means that this whole thing was untidy. And I suspect that it was done deliberately in order to cream off profits through rent seeking, because the facts show that there are countries that have done the right thing, they have gone to the right source, they have gotten it much cheaper than we are getting it. So the statement that the ministry issued clearly does not satisfy.
I mean, the AU
absolutely, the AU
made an order of
300 million
and for at 9.7,
which
and even that one, there was a critique in the Financial Times that the Russian claim that theirs is the cheapest is not true.
Okay, fine. But whatever it is, the AU arrangement would have ensured that we got it much cheaper than we are getting it now. And look at the timelines. The AU placed the order in January, I believe, and we are in June. We are also getting ours after June anyway. So it's not like our arrangement has fast-tracked the process like that. We are getting it ahead in reasonable time of the AU. So what stopped our government from accessing the AU facility? And indeed, Randy, there are also organizations that do these things. The people have mentioned the Gavi Alliance, for instance, who have capacity to assist us. The WHO itself have capacity to assist us if indeed there was genuine difficulty. But if you look at all the things that have happened, somebody has deliberately turned a blind eye.
And in all of this,
allowing...
See, interestingly, in all of this, whether it's the 26 or the 19 on the world, it's Sputnik 5.
Absolutely, Sputnik 5. What is happening is that the Sputnik has licensed a limited liability company to do trading on their behalf. It is legitimate business. If you go to, in fact, all the countries that have access the vaccine that I mentioned, they went to that limited liability company.
Yes.
So even the less than $10 they got before, it was from them.
Yes.
Because they are the marketing wing of
If you go on their website,
absolutely.
all the information
So
is
what stopped us from dealing with them? Where is the truth in this claim that our officials made representations to the Russian government and were rebuffed? I simply fail to appreciate that.
Interesting.
Suddenly, we don't have relations with Russia anymore.
Interestingly, we say that we spoke with
the Prime Minister's office.
With the Prime Minister's office. But in Ghana, we dealt with the Deputy Ambassador.
Just imagine this. So who led us to the Prime Minister's office in Russia? And where was the limited liability company when we were doing all of this? Why couldn't you have gone to them? Do we have proof that we went to Sputnik, we went to this entity and they rebuffed us? Did they direct us to anybody? How did this, proposal that they say emanated from the Sheikh suddenly land in Ghana? How did the Sheikh learn of our need for this, that he brought us, they are saying that he brought us a proposal, not that we even sought him out. How did we get in touch with him? So, Randy, the questions are daunting, and the explanations that are being given are completely unconvincing, Randy.
All right.
You see, Felix is saying there are questions, and he's not happy with explanation. There's no problem. But Felix, you need to be a bit more charitable when you are ascribing ill motives to other people. No, seriously.
But sometimes the thing can be so clear that the questions beg
the last time we met here, I told you that major personalities have made allegations against you. But I will not indict you.
But it's not about the personality making allegations.
No, one second.
It's about whether the allegation makes sense or it is true. And you have capacity to determine it offhandedly. So there's no point.
The allegations don't make sense.
You see, I didn't say the last time, but there are many allegations against your person. You understand me? I cannot say that because those allegations have been made against you. If there are substantive matters of state, I should use that to say that because I won't ask questions. I can't do that. I can't do that. So it doesn't arise at all.
You can have suspicions. No. But see, when you go ahead to say that people are fleecing,
but that is what it is, really.
That is what it is.
Yes.
When it's about other people, that is what it is.
Yeah, but that's
when it's about you, they are not.
Which one? Is it about the airport or the Sputnik?
Both. Okay, that's what you put. You have to be a little careful when without evidence. Just based on
what evidence? The evidence has been provided.
There's no evidence. Because I kept quiet when you were speaking.
Oh, but
when you don't have evidence and you are going to charge people with fleecing basically with stealing money based on your suspicions, you have to be a little careful. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, but
you understand? You may have difficulty with an explanation, but that to go from your difficulty then to conclude and try to impose that conclusion that people are stealing money, it's not fair.
But they will never come and
now,
they are stealing money.
Now, Randy, let me start with the Noguchi. Look, all of us are nationalists, okay? So if there is a venture that can be given to Ghanaians, all of us are for it. So this testing at the airport, I would wish that it was given to Noguchi. I don't know why it was not given to Noguchi.
You still don't know?
No.
Really?
No, I don't know.
So when I make reference to people fleecing, as you say, I should be serious. Otherwise, what explains this?
The fact that I don't know doesn't mean that because of that somebody is fleecing. There may be a reason. Maybe that reason has not been given. But I cannot conclude that because I don't know why it was given to Noguchi, then somebody is stealing money. That's what I'm saying. I would have wished that it went to a Ghanaian company, whether Noguchi or any of these hospitals. I don't know the reason why. Maybe they didn't have the capacity. Maybe they didn't have the finance. We haven't been told. But I would have wished that it was so. The cost, we had an issue with it. We said 150 was too much. They said it was justified. We raised issues. I don't know if they explained it well or justified why it should be 150. But that's what they said it would take. We are being told that they made 16 million.
Interestingly, not to catch you, Nana, but this same 150 we're talking about, and they said no.
Dollars, yeah.
When now ECOWAS met, and ECOWAS raised the issue that look,
they gave a discount.
It's too exorbitant. The 150 came to 50 for ECOWAS nationals.
For ECOWAS nationals, yes.
Yes, maybe it's a special dispensation. I don't know. The money that they made, is it profit or revenue? Because when you say revenue,
It's revenue. Say what the 150.
Yes, yes.
The 150 includes costs.
Yes, but you must take out costs.
Yes.
We haven't been told the amount of money they spent, the operational costs. We've just been told the revenue. We will get a clearer picture if the company will say, yes, we made the revenue of 16, but we spent so much, and so this is not profit. Because what we've been given, it sounds like it's profit a bit.
And now we've been asking questions.
They haven't been
for over a year.
Yes, yes. They haven't.
If indeed our intention was to be transparent.
No, this information came yesterday.
Because there was an urgent question about how much has been made in 4 months.
Yes, but I'm saying that they won't answer. The point is that, so is delayed, but the point is that this 16 million that is being bandied, I don't think it's profit. It's revenue.
Not only PS is revenue.
So they must take, so to get a proper picture, we need to be told how much cost has gone into generating this revenue. Then we can get an idea of it. But now it looks like, oh, they have made 16 million and we made 1 million. So that's a wrong picture. Now, Felix said the test was not necessary. Look, in this COVID pandemic, even if it's 3-4 tests, because there was a time when people would actually be housed in a hotel for 3 weeks at public expense. You know, so when you compare it to having a 2-hour or 1-hour wait at the airport. And the bottom line is that people in this country must be protected. So if you do the PCR test, and that's the requirement, and then you're asked to do
2 minutes.
But, you know, Felix took all the time.
Sorry.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. So those 2 tests are necessary. The PCR test they are different tests. They are not the same.
But it's a superior test, actually.
Whether it's superior or inferior, they are different. One test for the antibodies and one test for the virus. They reinforce each other. And this thing, it can kill you in seconds. So that one is necessary, that those tests are done.
There's a cost implication. I think.
Now, this business of sourcing directly, helpfully your production has sent the message, the statement from I haven't seen it actually. The impression that Phyllis is giving, that is $19, doesn't include transport. You debunked it. And it's also in the statement that the ministry has issued. Now we are being told that it should have been possible for President Akufo-Addo to call President Putin, and then the vaccines be delivered. What we are being told here in the statement is that major efforts were made to do government to government.
We believe that.
But what basis do you have for disbelieving it?
I mean,
no, Radhi, what basis would you have for disbelieving it?
Nana,
because you see,
the basis is that there are many African countries that struck a deal with the Russian
and they got it directly.
Yes.
Which African countries?
Oh, there's Egypt, there's Algeria.
They got it directly.
Yes.
Because you see,
India. In fact, some even got it for free.
They also got some for free.
No,
that's under COVAX.
That's under COVAX.
And when COVAX came, when COVAX came,
yes. The COVAX is AstraZeneca.
Yes.
We got Sputnik some for free, about 19,000.
No, that's why you paid 16,000.
You see,
you paid
90,000 from who?
What the Sheikh delivered. It's not free. It's paid.
Sputnik.
From who? The Sheikh.
From who for free?
From
the Sheikh's 15,000 that came. Reading the agreement,
it's
supposed to be the first consignment of the 3.4.
It's been paid for. But you see, if I'm told that other countries have bought the vaccines at a cost that is lower than Ghana, for example, Israel. I know Israel bought their American one, the Pfizer.
Yes.
At $5 more than it was being sold.
Yes. Because they got it ahead of everybody.
Yes.
So it's a premium they paid for.
So you pay.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Ghana is a beautiful country. There is so much of it you probably haven't seen, haven't experienced, haven't touched, haven't felt, haven't eaten. When this is all over, let's discover our land again with new eyes. Let's feel each other again. We are one people, brought together by destiny. Let's make that count. Let's show love for each other and our environment. Let's tell our stories, and let's watch and listen to our stories. there will be so much to tell. Ghana is a truly beautiful country. Be Ghana, stay in Ghana, experience Ghana, make Ghana great. And we will invite the world to come and experience Ghana too. But for now, stay home. Brought to you by the National Film Authority. Support